People power, our power. Thank you very much, Comrade Lewis. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is not a very, very good afternoon with what we see going on in our country, with what we see happening to our people. But nevertheless, we say good afternoon. I want to address 2, maybe 3 matters this afternoon. First, to add my voice on condemning the rampant abductions and enforced disappearances. You all notice, ladies and gentlemen, that there's a new wave of abductions and enforced disappearances. Many of us have read about the times of Pandagari, the times of Idi Amin, but even what we read is not as bad as what we see today. It's very unfortunate that it's happening, but it's even more unfortunate that we see a very loud silence from leaders, from political leaders, from religious leaders, from cultural leaders. To you, dear our religious leaders, we believe that God is stronger than any dictator, stronger than Nebuchadnezzar, stronger than Idi Amin, and certainly stronger than Museveni. We get disturbed why there's so much silence coming from our religious leaders. We grew up being taught about the Uganda matters, 45 of them, 22 from my own Catholic Church and 23 from the Anglican Church. Those were people that died because they stood for what is right. They stood for truth and for justice. They stood for their right to worship, just their right to worship. Up to today, we remember them. These people are standing for their right to be human. They are abducted, they are tortured, many are raped, others never show back. But we've not had enough from the religious leaders. Most times when religious leaders talk to us, they only encourage us to be calm, to be peaceful. But you cannot be at peace when you don't have your rights, when you're not free. So dear religious leaders, we want to hear more of your voices. To the cultural leaders, we have many cultural leaders in Uganda. I'll talk mainly about where I come from. There has not been a horror here in Uganda, in the history of Uganda and the history of Uganda. There has never been any horror like the one happening today, where our children are abducted. You see their mothers crying, demanding for them. There has never been such a horror. And we think that our leaders, who are supposed to be our representatives, we think this is supposed to be on your lips. If we cannot get them for us, at least talk about them. Let us know that we are represented by our leaders. Of course, I'll talk about the silence from the media. Unlike the politicians, it's either silence or diversion. For the politicians, all we hear them talk about on TV and radio interviews are matters that are not as important as this. Same thing with you, media guys. On TVs today, you're going to hear about who was caught with whose girlfriend, where the party is at, who is dating who. You're not going to talk about these issues. But you are also not safe. Recently, your fellow journalist, Remy Bahati, who exposed the regime and, interviewed Kakwenza on her Twitter space because the regime could not get their hand on her. They abducted her family. So friends, while you are silent on very important matters that touch you indirectly, it will soon come to you. So please speak up and be the real reflection of the issues that are happening in society, dear media people. Machete's mother mentioned it, and all other mothers mentioned it, that these people are being abducted, tortured, or even killed simply because they supported me. I am here. I have challenged Museveni. I challenge him again. Why don't you arrest me if you think I am leading criminals? other than torturing these people. Why don't you torture me? Why don't you arrest me? Mike check. Yeah, kama zeni katire. Comrade Nubian has briefed you about what happened with our Dubai tour. I will emphasize that because we have a gift given freely to us by God and groomed and raised and promoted by the common people, we thought this was our opportunity to give back to our brothers and sisters. So a concert was organized in Dubai. He has briefed you that many of our brothers and sisters are stuck in the Arab world. In the UAE alone, there are 21 detention centers. We visited only one, and it had 600 girls, 200 from Uganda, and the rest from the rest of Africa. We wanted to achieve two things. One, we wanted to create awareness, because you, the media, are not talking about these girls as much as you're supposed to be talking about them. You, the leaders, political leaders, religious leaders, and wherever, you are not talking about the plight of these people. These are children of Uganda. These are Africans. Okay? They are stuck where they are being dehumanized, where they are being disrespected, where they are being humiliated, and in many cases because of the color of their skin. These so-called Pan-Africans who rule over us, who criticize us every time we call them out on disrespect of human rights, have not done anything. The same way they neglected our people who are being racially abused in China in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. They are the same people that are silent. So we try to use our talents to help our brothers and sisters. We organized a concert, which concert was blocked by the Uganda embassy in UAE, in Dubai. When I reached the airport, I was questioned for 8 hours. Apparently, the regime in Uganda, through the embassy of Uganda, said I am a terrorist, taking trouble to Dubai and the UAE. They said I shouldn't be allowed to conduct any business there. Of course, after all the questioning, the government of Dubai realized that I'm not a criminal, that I'm a good person, and I have good intentions. So they released me. Unfortunately, because of the extreme pressure from the embassy, our concert was cancelled. Now imagine, this is an embassy that is supposed to look out for the well-being of Ugandans wherever they are. This is an embassy that has done nothing to save our girls and boys who are stuck there, but has done everything to stop every effort to bring them back. Nubian said it, that only in this detention center that we are allowed to visit, the conditions of living were horrifying. For every girl or boy to return back home, all they need is an air ticket that is between 700 to 800,000 shillings. So if the concert that I'd gone to perform in Dubai was allowed to go on, I would be returning with a minimum of 400 of those girls or boys. Unfortunately, the Museveni regime thought those people are better off suffering in that world other than returning home. In the same way, on Independence Day, just a day after blocking that concert, the regime had parties there. And you know, every time they have parties outside Uganda, they transport people and they spend billions. Now imagine if that money was spent to bring back our people. But do they care anyway? No, they don't. Now this is my message. First of all, to the girls and boys that are stuck there, I know you're watching, or I know you'll get this message. Hang in there, brothers and sisters. We have not given up on you. Uganda has not given up on you. We are still making every effort to get you back home, and you will come back home. To fellow Ugandans, wherever you are, We know we can do this. While we are making our own effort as a party, as NUP, as people power, we know that even individual citizens, even those that don't want to publicly associate with us, you can do something. You can buy one ticket for one girl or one boy, or even half a ticket, or whatever you can. I'm sure every one of us can do something. For those that have the funds, please contribute to bring back our children. And for those of you that don't have the money, you can contribute by creating awareness. Let this be the issue on everybody's Facebook, on everybody's Twitter. Let us not forget about them. Don't sweep them under the carpet. Let them know that we are thinking about them. By creating awareness, maybe somebody that can be helpful but is not yet aware can know and will be helpful. So don't forget about them. Let us create as much awareness about the plight of our girls and boys that are stuck there. And for us that can contribute, let us contribute. Our Secretary General has announced my contribution. I had intended it to be silent. But I could not call upon you to contribute when I've not led by example. I'm only trying to lead by example, but whoever can do something, please do it to bring back our people. I will also mention this. I do not intend to dwell so much on it, but while I was away, we were treated to a diplomatic embarrassment. All of you have been seeing the erratic character of General Museveni's son, who he has been gifting with ranks. He came out, I don't know what he had consumed, or maybe that's his character, that's him, and attacked Kenya in his profile as commander of our land forces. He disrespected Kenya, therefore dragging all of us along. And as usual, General Museveni came out to congratulate him, to reward him. And yes, just a day, just after a day of national embarrassment, General Museveni's son was rewarded with the highest rank in our military. So now you know what Museveni rewards the people that misrepresent our country. You know now that all those people that are raping women, all those soldiers that are torturing people are actually being rewarded by General Museveni, because according to him, that is the right thing to do. Of course, General Museveni came out and pretended to be apologizing to Kenya, but that was in words. We judge him by his actions. In his words, he was apologizing to Kenya. By his actions, he rewarded his son for disrespecting Kenya. To our brothers and sisters in Kenya, please bear with us. That is what we go through every day. But I also want to assert that that man was not speaking on our behalf. He does not represent us and is not even one of us. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, well, before I leave that topic, what does it show us? First, it shows us that we don't have a national military, we have a personal military. The fact that no other serving officer can behave in such a manner. But for the ruling family, they have the right to abuse every law, civil or military law. A few generals and soldiers that have dared to speak out in a much less undermining way, you've seen what happened to them. You saw what happened to Dr. Besigye, you saw what happened to Tumukunde, you saw what happened to Sejusa Tinyefunza, and you saw what has been rewarded to General Museveni's son. The military is completely disrespected. But again, that's what happens when we are being ruled by the destiny, by a dynasty. The ruling family happens to be above the law, above civil law and above military law. So to you, the soldiers out there, now you know. This is what you've tolerated. This is what you've helped to create. Era njagala obatumirako mwenna bajjenero abali eyo nti kasukali mukawulira mutya. And finally, you've heard our comrade Kasaga mentioning, and others, that whenever they are arrested, they are beaten and warned to stop using Twitter. Now you know what hurts the dictator most. Yes, we are present on Facebook. Yes, we are present on TikTok. But they are more scared of Twitter because all these policymakers are on Twitter. Twitter is much more effective against this dictator. So I hereby call upon all of you who love Uganda to embrace Twitter. Yes. Go on Twitter and sabula them on Twitter. Tag them. Tag all these organizations. I want all of you to be on Twitter. If you make one post on Facebook every day, make 2 posts, 2 tweets every day. Use Twitter because now we know what they fear most. Kambizi ne muluzungu ebyo. Basebo ne banyabo. Ndi musanyufu okuba nti njogerako nammwe leero. Ekisooka kyanaku nti olunaku lwa leero tukyayogera ku kiwamba bantu. Ekiwamba abantu ekigenda mu maaso mulabe bamaama b'abantu be baawamba. Abamu balabika oluvannyuma nga bamaze okutulugunyizibwa okumala ebbanga ddene. Abamu tebalabikangako nga muganda waffe Gaza tanaba kulabika paka olwaleero. Kyanaku nnyo nti abantu baffe bawambibwa ne batulugunyizibwa. Abamu abakyala ne bakwatibwa nga marinos. Naye ate kyanaku nnyo okulaba nti waliwo okusirika n'okusuulayo gwa Nagamba ku nsonga eno ng'ekyo kiva mu bakulembeze, abakulembeze ab'ebyobufuzi, abakulembeze ab'ennono n'abakulembeze ab'amadiini. Kyanaku nnyo abakulembeze mwe abalondebwa abantu tulowooza nti tewali nsonga nkulu mu Uganda olwaleero okusinga okuwamba abantu. Bw'aba tebannajjawo ekiro abasirikale oba abapoliisi ng'olabako wa poliisi n'omusirikale n'abakwatamundu abali mu ngoye eza bulijjo ne bakuba omuntu wo ne bambula omuntu wo nga bwe bakola Kalanzi ne bakwambula omusajja omukulu mu maaso g'abaana bo abalina okuba bakuumaddembe ne bakubuzaawo. Bangi malabe babasse, bangi malabe babatulugunyiza. Kyewunyisa nnyo gwe omukulembeze oba oli wa opposition oba toli ng'eyo si ensonga enkulu nga si ensonga gy'okulembeza. Ng'ogenda ku TV oba ku radio n'odda ku busongasonga. Tewali nsonga nkulu mu ggwanga muno basebo ne bannyabo esinga bulamu bw'abantu baffe. Teriyo. Era mmwe abakulembeze abadda ku zi TV ne ku radio ne mutandika okweyezageza ku nsonga eno oba endala ne mutandika okudda mu nsonga eza poliisi muli mu kwebuzaabuza. Muli mu kubika kizibu kiri. Tewabangawo kizibu mu Uganda nga kino. Ekiwamba abantu panda gali egenda maaso kati ekubisaamu ey'Amini emirundi egisukka mu 3. Eby'Amini baabituwandikako buwandiisi paka kati tukyabyogerako. Bino bigenda maaso olunaku lwa leero. So bw'obanga oli mukulembeze ng'oli eyo ng'eno ensonga tekwatako ekyegeza welfare y'abantu bekyegeza obulamu bw'abantu bo tebukwatako. Abakulembeze abalala ab'amadiini bakadde baffe tubenyumirizaamu nnyo naddala mmwe abavuddeyo ne musula amaloboozi gammwe ku bulamu bw'abantu baffe. Naye tetunawulira amaloboozi gamala kuba n'ekyokulabirako baakituwa dda. Ebyawandiikibwa biraga tewali nakyemalira ayinza kusinga Katonda maanyi. Nebukadduneeza yali tasinga Katonda maanyi, Amini yali tasinga Katonda maanyi, Hitler yali tasinga Katonda maanyi, ne Museveni tasinga Katonda maanyi. Mulekeraawo okutulaga nti Museveni mumutya nnyo okusinga bwe mutya Katonda. Mutusomesa ku bajulizi ba Uganda wano. Fe Abakatuliki tulina abajulizi 22, Abaprotestant mulina abajulizi 23. Buli mwaka tubajaguza ne Namugongo. Abo battibwa nga battibwa Kabaka yaliwo. Ssekabaka Mwanga nga battibwa olwakye baali bakkiririzaamu. Olunaku lwayo tukyabogerako era tuyigira ku bo. Naye kati enkumi n'enkumi z'abantu baffe bawambibwa, tebawambibwa buwambibwa, bakyawambibwa paka olwaleero ne batulugunyizibwa. Bino tetubisomaako mu bitabo, tetubisomaako mu Bayibuli oba mu history, biri mugenda maaso olunaku lwaleero. Lwaki si bye tuwulirako? Lwaki si bye mwogerako? Lwaki si bye tumusomesaako mu masinzizo? Kye mutugamba mugamba tubeere bakkakkamu, tubeere baddembe. Naye osobola okubeera ow'eddembe nga tolina ddembe lyo. Kubanga musirise kyetuva tuvaayo tubyeyogerereko. Tubasaba abakitaffe ne bannyaffe mu Katonda, muveeyo musitule amaloboozi gammwe, mulekeraawo okutya Museveni kuba Museveni tasinga Katonda maanyi. Nja kwogera ne ku bakulembeze ab'ennono. Abakulembeze ab'amadiini mbadde ntegeeza ab'amadiini gonna, n'ab'ennono ntegeeza abakulembeze ab'ennono zonna. Ffe wano mu Africa tukkiriza nnyo mu nnono. Nja kwogera ku waffe gye nva, nze nva Buganda. Era tumanyi nti abakulembeze baffe be batwogerera. Naye tewabangawo ntiisa wano mu byafaayo bya Buganda emyaka 8 mu byafaayo ebimanyiddwa, tewabangawo ntiisa wano mu Buganda ng'entiisa eriwo olwaleero ey'okuwamba abaana baffe. Tebangawo. Kati musango okuba omusiraamu, musango okuba omuganda, nze kennyini baali bampambyeko. Genda obuzeewo nebbo zaake.